Everyone assumes the final villain of One Piece is obvious. Blackbeard, Imu, maybe even the world government itself. But what if the real final villain isn't the one we're all watching? By the end of this video, you might completely change who you think Luffy's final enemy really is. One Piece is finally entering its final saga. Oda has been setting this up for over 25 years, so whoever the final villain is, they have to represent everything Luffy stands against. Freedom versus control, dreams versus domination, the future versus the past. So let's break down the 3 real candidates for the final villain of One Piece, and then figure out who makes the most sense. Marshall D. Teach is the most obvious answer. He's a D. He wants the One Piece. He rises through betrayal, chaos, and shortcuts, the exact opposite of Luffy. Luffy earns loyalty, Blackbeard steals it. Luffy brings freedom, Blackbeard brings fear. Even their powers reflect this. Luffy, the sun god Nika, liberation. Blackbeard is darkness, swallowing everything. And Oda loves mirror rivals. But here's the problem. Blackbeard feels like the final pirate villain, not the final villain of the entire story. He represents corrupted freedom, but not the system that's been crushing the world for 800 years. Which brings us to the next option. Imu sits on the empty throne, something that shouldn't even exist. They erase islands, they decide history, they rule the world from the shadows. Imu isn't just a villain, Imu is the embodiment of control. While Luffy frees people wherever he goes, Imu decides who is allowed to exist at all. This lines up perfectly with the Void Century, Joy Boy, the Ancient Kingdom, and the world government's obsession with erasing truth. If One Piece ends with the world being truly free, then Imu has to fall. But here's the twist. Imu might not be the final fight. They might be the final obstacle. Oda has been dropping clues about the ancient weapons for decades. Pluton, Poseidon, and Uranus. These aren't just super weapons, they're tools capable of reshaping the world itself. Who controls them? Who decides how the world is rewritten? That's where Imu ties in. But even Imu might be a pawn in a system older than anyone knows. The real threat could be the power of the ancient kingdom being misused, or the cycle of history repeating itself if no one stops it. Luffy's fight might not just be against a person, it might be against the weight of history itself, and the danger of letting the past dictate the future. This raises the stakes. It's not just a duel, it's the fight to give the world a new beginning. What if One Piece doesn't end with Luffy punching one person really hard, but with Luffy breaking the entire system? The world government, the celestial dragons, the lies of history, the idea that freedom needs permission. Oda has never written One Piece as a simple beat the bad guy story. Every arc is about overthrowing tyrants, exposing lies, and letting people choose their own future. So the final villain might not be a single character. It might be the world that refuses to change. And the final war won't just be Luffy versus Imu, it'll be the dawn versus the darkness. So who is the final villain in One Piece? Blackbeard is the final pirate enemy. Imu is the final ruler standing in the way. The ancient weapons are the hidden danger waiting to reshape the world. But the true final villain is the world that stole freedom, and the truth that's been buried for 800 years. And Monkey D. Luffy, he's not here to rule it, he's here to end it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps way more than you think. And comment who you think the final villain is, because knowing Oda, the answer might still shock us all.